At number 10, Don Rickles. Back in 2017, Toy Story fans were devastated to hear of the passing of Don Rickles. Don had a long and successful career as a comedian, but what most people remember him for is his role as the voice of Mr. Potato Head in the Toy Story films. Don had been the voice of this beloved character since the very beginning and was part of 3 Toy Story films before his passing at the age of 90. Don was set to take up his famous role in the newest installment of the Toy Story series, but sadly he passed away before the script was finished. When the studio was ready to begin production on Toy Story 4, they actually got in contact with Don's family and asked them if they would be willing to give them permission to use old recordings of Don's voice to bring Mr. Potato Head to life one last time, to which they agreed, saying, quote, "He always said, keep my name alive, let them know who I am, so he would be thrilled by all of this, definitely." End quote. Toy Story 4 came out with Don's voice playing his beloved character and helping keep his legacy alive. At number 9, Marion Ramsey. Actress Marion Ramsey, best known for her time on Police Academy, passed away on January 7, 2021 at the age of 73. According to sources, the actress passed away in her home in Los Angeles. Her agency rep, Roger Paul Inc., released a statement informing the public of her passing, saying, quote, "Marion carried with her a kindness and permeating light that instantly filled up a room upon her arrival. The dimming of her light is already felt by those who knew her well. We will miss her and always love her." End quote. Marion was best known for her performance as Officer Laverne Hooks in the Police Academy film franchise, beginning with the 1984 original, and then several role reprisals over the years. She was also known as a longtime advocate for HIV and AIDS awareness, and earned a lot of respect and praise for her work in fundraising for the cause. Outside of the film industry and advocacy, she was also known for her Broadway performances in shows like Hello Dolly and Little Shop of Horrors. Before I carry on talking about the rest of these stars, I would like to take a moment to ask you guys to maybe leave a comment down below sending some love to the families of the celebrities that we've lost recently. Loss is never an easy thing, so let's send some positive energy to those affected by their loved ones passing. At number 8, Diana Rigg. Though this actress took on some pretty big and legendary roles, some of her best works came from her time playing Emma Peel in the TV series The Avengers, as well as the wife of James Bond and Olenna Tyrell in Game of Thrones. Diana had a very successful career on screen but also on stage, as she found success in the life of theater, making her Broadway debut back in 1971. Her life was filled with dozens of theater productions, television series, and films, but her career sadly came to an end upon her passing on September 10, 2020. The actress passed away at the age of 82. Her daughter had reported that the actress passed away from lung cancer after being diagnosed with the disease back in March last year. At number 7, Jason Davis. If you're familiar with the Disney Channel show Recess from the late 90s/early 2000s, then you obviously remember the character Mikey Blumberg. His character was basically the nicest kid on the playground, a lovable guy with a knack for poetry and a good heart, always being the first to forgive people. Mikey's character was voiced by actor Jason Davis for the duration of the show series as well as its spin-off movies, but sadly Jason passed away last year on February 16, 2020 at the age of 35. Other than appearing on the Disney Channel, Jason also had roles in Rush Hour, Beverly Hills Ninja, and Mafia. During his life, Jason did a lot of good for his community as he founded and dedicated himself to an organization called Cure Addiction Now. His organization's goal is to help fund research for those suffering from substance abuse and addiction, and he dedicated the year and a half before his passing to growing this organization. He brought many characters to life and dedicated his time towards helping others, achieving so many wonderful things in his life. At number 6, Deezer D. Actor Deezer D, who was best known for his role on the drama series ER, passed away this year on January 7th, 2021 at the age of just 55 years old. Deezer was a fan favorite among viewers of ER, and his role as Nurse Malik McGrath on the medical series was beloved by many, and as you would expect, fans were shocked and devastated to hear about his unexpected passing. His brother Emery Thompson announced his passing on social media, posting the announcement of his brother's passing to his Instagram account. Reports say that Deezer was found unresponsive in his home in Los Angeles on the morning of January 7th. An official cause of death was not released to the public, however, based on information provided by one of Deezer's other brothers, it is believed that the actor passed away from a heart attack. At number 5, John Riley. John Riley had a long, successful career, but sadly the beloved actor passed away at the age of 84 on January 10th, 2021. John began his rise to fame after playing roles on General Hospital and Beverly Hills 90210. John was originally from Chicago, and he started his acting career in the 1960s with guest starring roles on Death Valley Days, Apple's Way, and Gunsmoke. In 1984, his career moved forward and he starred in 6 episodes of Dallas, and from there he went on to portray Sean Donnelly on General Hospital for 11 years. The announcement of the actor's death came from his daughter Caitlin Riley, who announced the death of her father's passing on Instagram. However, the cause of death was not disclosed. Caitlin's tribute to her father was emotional and sweet, as she revealed that she made it in time to hold him and say goodbye, so we know that unfortunately the actor's passing was expected, which makes that a little more painful. At number 4, Cameron Boyce. One of the biggest and most tragic deaths that Disney has faced recently was the passing of actor Cameron Boyce back in 2019. Cameron passed away on July 6, 2019 2019 at the age of only 20 years old. His death came shortly before the premiere of his film Descendants 3, where he played Carlos, the son of Disney villain Cruella de Vil. Before this film, Cameron starred in other hit Disney productions like Jessie and had guest roles on Good Luck Charlie and Shake It Up as well. Cameron was a Disney fan favorite, but he was much more than that outside of the world of film and television. Cameron also loved to help people and was also a philanthropist. In 2017, Cameron helped raise over $27,000 for the Thirst Project. He aided in efforts to end homelessness. He worked closely with an organization that helped raise awareness and fight against assault on college campuses. He worked with an organization to help kids with sickle cell disease, and his final humanitarian effort was to partner with an organization to fight against gun violence. Because helping others was something that Cameron loved, his family set up an organization in his name after his passing to, quote, provide young people artistic and creative outlets as alternatives to violence and negativity, and provide resources to make a positive change in the world. Cameron did a lot of good in his life and continues to be someone for people to look up to. At number 3, Charlie Robinson. On July 11, 2021, actor Charlie Robinson passed away at the age of 75. Charlie had a wonderful and long career spanning over 50 years. Over that half century of work, Charlie made a name for himself, mostly thanks to his role as Mac on Night Court, which he is best known for. Sadly though, Charlie suffered from some serious health issues towards the end of his life. The actor had been diagnosed with metastatic adenocarcinoma, a type of aggressive cancer, and as a result of this and septic shock, the actor passed away from cardiac arrest and organ failure. He brought so much entertainment to so many people over the span of his career, and he and his talent will certainly not be forgotten. At number 2, Stan Lee. I'm sure you all know who the legendary Stan Lee was. He was a comic book writer, editor, actor, and producer, known for his creation and involvement in so many iconic Marvel characters. He was always a storyteller, as he enjoyed writing since he was a kid. He credited the books and movies from his childhood for his great success later in life. In 1939, Lee began working for a comic book publisher, which eventually evolved into the coveted Marvel Comics by the 1960s. What made Stan's character so unique is how his comic book heroes had more realistic and flawed qualities in comparison to rival DC Comics. Their success skyrocketed, and the Marvel empire grew into what we know it as today. Other than creating these characters, Lee also starred alongside them for many years, as he held cameos in many of the Marvel movie adaptations. For fans of the MCU, Stan's appearance was one Easter egg that we all looked forward to finding. Stan Lee lived an incredibly long and successful life until his death on November 12, 2018 at the age of 95. And at number 1, Michael K. Williams. Actor Michael K. Williams, best known for his role on The Wire, passed away on September 6, 2021 at the age of 54 after being found dead in his penthouse in Brooklyn, New York. According to sources, it is believed that Michael died of a suspected overdose. Michael became a well-known and beloved actor with the success of his time on The Wire, as well as his role on HBO's Boardwalk Empire. His most recent project, Lovecraft Country, brought him even more success, as he was nominated for an Emmy Award for his work in that production as well. Upon the announcement of his death, Michael's rep issued a statement which read, quote, "It is with deep sorrow that the family announces the passing of Emmy-nominated actor Michael Kenneth Williams. They ask for your privacy while grieving this unsurmountable loss. Michael was certainly taken far too soon." At number 10, Amy Winehouse. I always find it really sad when someone can't live their life completely open and happy with who they are. We are all unique and designed to be 100% ourselves, so when someone can't be genuine in their own life, it's a little tragic. This could sort of be said for Amy Winehouse, as a documentary revealed a pretty big secret that she took to her grave. It turns out that Amy actually struggled with her sexuality. Despite having been married to Blake Filder Civil and having dated director Reg Travis a year before her passing, it turns out that Amy also had feelings towards women and even had a secret girlfriend. In the BBC documentary Reclaiming Amy, the singer's friend and secret lover Catriona Gourlay revealed that Amy was confused about her sexuality. She opened up about their secret affair, saying that Amy used to write her letters saying, quote, "She used to write notes while I was sleeping saying, 'You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, and how can you look as beautiful asleep as you do awake?'" End quote. As for how Amy felt about her struggle with her sexuality, one can only speculate because she never really opened up about it, but from knowing her so well, Catriona said, quote, "What I took from it knowing her was that she was confused about what it made her. When you have something that is so undefined for years, it's hard." End quote. It's so sad to know that she could never truly be open with herself, and she didn't get the chance to open up that part of herself. At number 9, Brittany Murphy. When news broke of Brittany Murphy's passing in 2009, it came as a shock to a lot of people. It was so sudden that people immediately started up with conspiracy theories as to how she passed away. Per the coroner's report, Brittany's official cause of death was community-acquired pneumonia, but her death sparked a mystery because no one was buying what was reported. After Brittany's husband passed away just 5 months later from similar causes, some thought that it was just a coincidence, but others thought otherwise, specifically the actress's father. He told sources that he believed that there was something more sinister going on and suggested that someone had killed his daughter. He requested that a number of tests be done on Brittany's body in case something was missed, or to find new evidence to support his theory, but nothing was found. Though on paper the death of Brittany Murphy is a closed case, others aren't so sure and believe that there are secrets out there that could reveal more. Brittany would have been the one person to know what was really going on, but unfortunately she went to the grave with that secret. Before we carry on talking about the secrets that celebrities have taken with them to the grave, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Marilyn Monroe. Moving on to another mysterious celebrity passing that looks to be shrouded in secrecy, let's talk about Marilyn Monroe and her passing. Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her apartment on August 5th, 1962 at the age of 36. Everyone was shocked by her sudden passing, and an investigation was led to figure out just what had happened to the Hollywood bombshell. It was determined that she had possibly taken her life through an overdose, but many people aren't so sure that's what really happened. A lot of people have theorized that there was more to the story, especially given her connection to the Kennedys. There was a rumor that Marilyn had been having an affair with both JFK and his brother Robert, and some say that Marilyn may have been forced to take her own life because of her ties to the first family. Some think that she was silenced because she wouldn't be able to reveal any secrets about the Kennedys, but no one knows for sure. The CIA reportedly has a file on Marilyn's death, but those classified documents probably won't see the light of day, meaning that only the government and Marilyn herself know the secret as to how the movie star passed away. At number 7, Robert Kardashian. Robert Kardashian, the celebrity lawyer, really rose to fame because of the infamous O.J. Simpson case. He was tasked with defending the former football player in his trial, and he was successful at winning his case. However, there was a secret that Robert held that he only shared with one person before taking it to his grave. Robert had told Caitlyn Jenner what he thought about the big O.J. case while he was on his deathbed, and revealed to Jenner that he believed that O.J. really was guilty of taking the lives of 2 people. According to Caitlyn, who wrote about Robert's secret in her memoir, Robert told her, quote, "I would have been okay with it if they had gotten him in the first trial. I believe Simpson got away with 2 savage murders." End quote. O.J. ended up being found not guilty of taking the lives of 2 people, but secretly Robert knew that he was in fact guilty of his crimes. According to Caitlyn, Robert also revealed that he only took the O.J. case to get back at his ex Chris because she was friends with O.J.'s wife before her passing, so there's another secret for you. At number 6, the Notorious B.I.G. The death of rapper The Notorious B.I.G. shocked many people around the world. His death came just a few months after the shooting death of fellow rapper and music rival Tupac Shakur, and both Biggie's and Tupac's deaths remain a mystery. There are secrets involved in Biggie's death, but the biggest one is who killed him. Nothing has really ever been confirmed, and no real arrests were made confirming who the perpetrator was, but earlier this year, a retired FBI agent did shed some light on Biggie's case. The rapper went to the grave with the secret of who really killed him, but this agent alleged that there was some shady business going on and that the whole thing was covered up. Former FBI agent Phil Carson told sources that there was a clear culprit and an effort to cover it all up and make it disappear. According to Carson, quote, "All the evidence points to Amir Muhammad. He was the one who pulled the trigger. There were plenty of others who helped orchestrate it and allowed him to pull the trigger." End quote. Though this can only be considered speculation without the proper evidence, it's still a huge secret that we may never uncover. At number 5, Natalie Wood. Up next, we have another mysterious celebrity death that has a lot of unanswered questions. Actress Natalie Wood died on November 29th, 1981 when she drowned while on a boating trip with her husband Robert Wagner. Robert had reported his wife missing after an evening of drinking, and several hours later her body was found floating face down in the water, wearing a flannel nightgown, down jacket, and socks. When she was first found, her death was ruled an accidental drowning, but after further inspection, investigators found bruises on her body, which suggested that foul play was involved, and the actress's husband became the #1 suspect. Unfortunately, due to lack of evidence, the mystery of how Natalie died was never solved, though her family remains convinced that her husband had something to do with his wife's death. Natalie took the secret of what really happened to her grave, and we may never uncover what really happened to the movie star. At number 4, Gary Francis Post. You might not be familiar with the name Gary Francis Post, but you must be familiar with the name the Zodiac Killer. For decades, the identity of the Zodiac Killer remained a mystery. The killer was able to commit several crimes and evade capture since the late 1960s, and for years, no matter how much people tried to crack the case, it remained cold, with the families of the victims still desperate for answers. Finally though, the identity of the infamous Zodiac Killer was revealed to be a man named Gary Francis Post. Gary, though, died with a lot of crucial secrets that will probably never be revealed. Other than the fact that when he passed away in 2018, he took the secret of his killer alter ego with him, he also took the secrets to cracking the complex Zodiac ciphers that were sent to different publications. Though some of the ciphers were solved, many of them remain unsolved, though many people have tried. There are so many questions that people wish they could have asked Gary Francis Post, but we will never get that chance. At number 3, Juice WRLD. Now this one is more of a conspiracy theory that some fans of the late rapper Juice WRLD believe believe, but it's pretty intriguing, so I decided to include it on this list. There are some fans out there that believe that Juice WRLD faked his own death. Now, this theory could have been created because people didn't want to believe that he was gone, or because he really isn't. Let's go over some of the evidence that people use to support this theory. First of all, fans have pointed out that the rapper somehow eerily predicted the age that he would be when he died. In his song Legends, he rapped, quote, "What's the 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21." End quote. The rapper ended up passing away at the age of 21. Further evidence to support this theory comes from one of the rapper's old tweets where he said, quote, "My goal is to get overly famous, shine for a couple years, then fake my death." Many people have pointed out that when musicians die, their music sales skyrocket as a result, so some believe that Juice WRLD faked his death to boost his music sales. If that really is the case, then perhaps it's not all for personal gain, because before he passed, he told sources about how he uses his money from his music to give back to others. Honestly, who really knows? What are your thoughts on this? At number 2, Chadwick Boseman. Actor Chadwick Boseman was an absolute legend and a role model to so many. He did everything in his power to do his job and bring us entertainment through the vast array of characters he played on screen. Because he worked so hard to bring joy to his fans, this is how the public failed to catch on to a pretty big secret that the actor had been keeping. It turns out that leading up to his passing, Chadwick Boseman had been dealing with a 4-year-long battle with colon cancer, and he ultimately passed away from it. This information was never shared with the public, and we only found out after the actor died, meaning that he was prepared to take the secret with him to the grave. And finally, at number 1, Tupac. Now, I want to know who killed Tupac. The only person who really knows who it was Tupac himself, and that's a secret that he unfortunately took to the grave. The rapper was killed on September 13th, 1996, after an unknown assailant shot him 4 times from a white Cadillac while stopped at an intersection in Las Vegas. We know that Tupac was involved in rivalries with a number of different people, and that his own actions put a target on his back, but even to this day, we have no idea who pulled the trigger 4 times on that September night. It is believed that there are specific ties between the case and certain gang organizations and other rivals, but it is such a messy situation that it's hard to get some solid answers. This is just another one of those Hollywood cases that have gone unsolved, with the star taking the secrets and the knowledge of what really happened to the grave.
And at number 10, Bob Saget. Legendary comedian Bob Saget passed away suddenly on January 9th in a hotel room in Orlando. Immediately after his passing, fans were speculating on how he passed. After some investigation, it was reported that there was no foul play or use of substances, that he most likely just passed away of a heart attack or stroke. But the autopsy has just come back, and we know that he actually died of blunt force trauma to the head, a much different story than what was said before. The night before he died, Saget did a show at a concert hall in Jacksonville, Florida. Then he was found unresponsive in his room at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, quote, in a face-upward position on his bed, according to a police report. Police are now saying a fall could be the reason, but other experts are claiming the force used is similar to that of a baseball bat, raising even more questions. As of now, Saget's family is blocking the release of any records pertaining to the case over privacy issues, so it seems we may never know what really happened to cause his death. And at number 9, Naya Rivera. Naya Rivera, best known from the show Glee, shocked the world when it was reported that she had gone missing in a lake in July of 2020. She was out on a boat with her young son, and after many hours on the water, the boat returned with only her son on it. Her child was found asleep on the vessel by a boater that afternoon, alongside Rivera's purse, wallet, and ID, but Naya was nowhere to be found. After searching the lake for days, her body was discovered. The Ventura County Sheriff's Department announced on July 13th that they had recovered her body following an extensive search and recovery effort. Since then, her death has been ruled an accident, but for many fans, the whole thing just seems too strange to be true, and unfortunately we will never know the full story of what happened on the boat that day. And at number 8, Michael Jackson. The king of pop died suddenly at the age of 50 after suffering a cardiac arrest in June of 2009, but there's been so much mystery around his death, it went from being ruled an OD to a homicide. He was found unresponsive in his home, and it was determined that he ingested too much of a substance. After investigation, his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was charged with manslaughter, with the courts arguing he prescribed Jackson much more than was needed, and his prescription caused his death. The years after his passing, allegations of inappropriate conduct from former friends of Jackson's came to light. And ever since, fans have been trying to figure out what really happened between Jackson and the kids he would spend time with at his home. The secrets of what truly happened will now never be uncovered. In at number 7, Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is known for a lot of things, specifically being one of the founding fathers of the USA, but it seems he was not always faithful to his wife, and he had a mysterious son with another woman. The son, named William Franklin, was clear he was the son of Franklin's, but notoriously mysterious over who his mother was. Some suspect he was born before Ben married Deborah Reed, making him illegitimate. Another theory is that he cheated on his wife with a mistress who ended up getting pregnant. William was involved with his father's business and even became noteworthy in his own right for helping his father in his famous kite experiment. He eventually settled in England to distance himself from the family, and when he passed, he never revealed who his mother was. In at number 6, Kurt Cobain. Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain tragically passed away at the age of 27 in 1994 and is a member of the infamous 27 Club. Law enforcement determined that Cobain took his own life, but there was a lot of inconsistencies in his case that led many to speculate that's not actually how he died. A book was even written blaming the whole thing on Cobain's wife, Courtney Love. The book claims that he died of an OD before being shot by Love. A private detective who was hired determined that Love even tried to pay someone to have them kill Cobain for her. This man claimed he was offered $50,000 and even passed a polygraph proving it. Although Love was never officially charged, she is guilty in the court of public opinion, and many fans are convinced she is responsible, but only Cobain knows the truth. In at number 5, Ludwig van Beethoven. On his deathbed, Beethoven wrote a love letter to the love of his life, although he didn't address it to anyone, so we have no idea who this woman was. When he died in 1827, a letter was left to the Germans' immortal beloved. It was later determined that he wrote the letter years before in 1812. Scholars have tried to speculate who his beloved could be, but there is no clear answer. The most likely choice seems to be Antoine Bertinato. She was close with him, mainly because she was actually married to a good friend of his. Others proposed Josephine Countess von Brunswick as the most likely candidate because he had written her love letters in the past. It was speculated that since she was poor and of low social standing, he was not allowed to be open about his true feelings for her. Since he never told anyone, only he knows the answer. In at number 4, the Black Dahlia. The Black Dahlia is one of the most infamous cases in LA history. On January 15th of 1947, 22-year-old Elizabeth Short's body was found dead in a vacant lot near a park in LA. The state of her body was the most concerning. Her body was cut in half and all the blood was drained from it. Her body was also perfectly clean, so no evidence was able to be collected from it. There was only one witness that was any help to police. The person claimed they saw a black sedan parked in the area the night before. Since her passing, there have been tons of theories about how or why it happened. And even though so much time has passed, nobody has ever been charged for the crime. Today, the Black Dahlia case remains one of the oldest cold case files in LA, as well as the city's most famous. And at number 3, Prince. Prince is one of the most legendary singers of all time, who made a huge impact on the industry, but his shocking death left many with unanswered questions, and many fans are still convinced we don't know the full story. On April 21st of 2016, he was found unresponsive in an elevator at the Paisley Park studio. Initially, the police marked it as an accident because when he passed away, he had many substances in his system. No charges were filed against anyone, even though many of Prince's fans do not believe he would have done this. Years later, there is still no definitive answers, specifically no idea how he got these substances and how he was able to ingest so much. According to sources that knew him very well, he didn't use any of these substances and had no intentions to start. Because there's still so many unanswered questions, the case remains open. And at number 2, George Reeves. In 1959, actor George Reeves was killed under very mysterious circumstances. He made a name for himself playing Superman in the 1950s TV show Adventures of Superman, but his career was cut short after he was killed. At the age of 45, he was killed by a shot to the head. The strange death was then labeled as him taking his own life, but many fans do not believe this could be the case. It was rumored that he was intentionally killed or the death was completely accidental. To add even more strangeness, the death happened while Reeves was with 3 other people, including his fiancée. But even though all those people most likely witnessed what actually happened, none of them ever told. And finally, at number 1, Nicole Brown Simpson. One of the most talked about cases of all time is the case of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Their death started the case of O.J. Simpson that would become the trial of the century. Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman were killed outside Simpson's Brentwood, California condo in 1994. After some investigation, it was clear that O.J., her ex-husband, was the prime suspect. His DNA had been found at the crime scene, and witnesses saw him leaving the scene of the crime that night. After an intense and highly publicized trial, he was found not guilty, and with no other suspects considered, the person responsible is still out there. Although many people are convinced that O.J. is the person who did it, and lucky circumstances are the real reason he got off. He was later found guilty of committing the act in a civil lawsuit done by Ron Goldman's family, but because of OJ's financial troubles, he has not paid this debt. Years later, OJ went to prison for robbery and is now out free.
At number 10, Rock Hudson. Imagine taking one of the biggest secrets about who you really are to your grave. That's essentially what happened with famed Hollywood actor Rock Hudson. Rock was one of the hottest leading males in Hollywood in his heyday, but he lived with a huge secret for his whole life, and people didn't end up finding out about it until after his passing. When Rock passed away in 1985, it was revealed that he had died from AIDS. He became one of the first and most famous Hollywood celebrities to pass away from the illness. Because the illness was so heavily associated with being gay, speculation began to float around saying that Rock had been hiding his sexuality from the public this whole time. This all turned out to be 100% true, as friends and family of Rock confirmed what the public had been thinking in a biography on the actor. In the book, it was revealed that he had an ex-boyfriend named Lee Garlington, and he was described as Rock's true love. Rock's secret was really only known by his closest friends and family and an inner circle of Hollywood, and a lot of them fought to keep his sexuality a secret in order to preserve his career. I couldn't imagine how tough it would be to have to keep such a big part of who you are a secret from the world. At number 9, David Cassidy. Oftentimes we try our best to be open and honest with our struggles in life, but for some it's hard to share some of the things that you might not be too proud of. This is what caused actor David Cassidy to keep a pretty big secret from the public that wasn't actually revealed until after he passed away. Before he passed away, David shared with the public his struggles with dementia. Fans believed that the actor was suffering from the disease, and so when news broke of his death, people just assumed that it was the dementia that ultimately took him. But it wasn't until the documentary about the actor called David Cassidy, The Last Session, came out that the public learned the truth about David's health. It turned out that the actor was never actually diagnosed with dementia, and that this wasn't what was harming his health. Instead, it was alcohol poisoning that he was struggling with, and that ultimately took his life. In the documentary, the actor admitted to everything, saying, quote, "There is no sign of me having dementia at this stage in my life. It was complete alcohol poisoning, and the fact is, I lied about my drinking." End quote. One of the documentary's producers spoke out about having known about the actor's struggles before the public, where they said, quote, "We didn't want to exploit him, but ultimately he was honest about what killed him, and we decided that his legacy would be best served if we shared that." End quote. Before we carry on talking about some of the juiciest celebrity secrets, why not take a brief moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, why not subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Gene Wilder. When someone is diagnosed with a serious illness, it becomes a very tough and very personal decision of whether or not to tell people about it. I know people who chose to keep their illness a secret until the end, and this is exactly what actor Gene Wilder did. Gene passed away in 2016, but it wasn't until after he died that the public learned about the secret that he was keeping in regards to his health. It turned out that the actor had been battling Alzheimer's for over 3 years before he passed away. After learning this, a lot of people wanted to know why this news was kept secret from the public, and the reason behind it is so touching. Gene didn't reveal his condition to the public because he wanted people to remember him as he was, and not someone who was sick. He wanted to keep the smiles on the faces of his fans. In a statement released by Gene's family, they elaborated on the situation, saying, quote, "The decision to wait until this time to disclose his condition wasn't vanity, but more so that the countless young children that would smile or call out to him, 'There's Willy Wonka,' would not have to be then exposed to an adult referencing illness or trouble and causing delight to travel to worry, disappointment, or confusion. He simply couldn't bear the idea of one less smile in the world." End quote. At number 7, Corey Haim. Unfortunately, as much as there's glitz and glam in Hollywood, there's also a dark side, one of those dark sides being harming and manipulating others. This is sadly something that actor Corey Haim experienced as a child actor in Hollywood. Both he and his best friend Corey Feldman experienced the dark side of Hollywood, and though Feldman has been pretty outspoken about what he endured, Haim on the other hand kept that top secret. The one thing that he kept absolutely hidden was the identity of the person who seriously harmed him. Haim went to the grave knowing the identity of the person who harmed him, but this secret isn't completely lost, as it's alleged that Corey Feldman actually knows who did it. Feldman tried in the past to get his friend to expose the person who caused him so much pain, but Haim refused because he was so scared that this individual would try and hurt them again. Haim made Corey promise that he would share the story of what happened to them if he died, and Corey did share some details, but again, the identity of the person who hurt Corey Haim remains a secret. At number 6, Sally Ride. Up next we have another celebrity who unfortunately didn't get to live their life as open as they should have been able to, as they went to the grave with a huge secret. Astronaut Sally Ride was the first American woman to go to space. She became widely known for her presence in the NASA community, promoting education and interest in space, and specifically devoted much of her life to helping girls excel in STEM. She did a lot for her community, especially women and young girls, but there was another community that she was a part of that no one really knew about until after she passed away. When Sally passed away in 2012, her title grew to not only be the first American woman to go to space, but also the first astronaut to be acknowledged as gay. Sally's sexuality was never public knowledge until her obituary named a woman named Tan O'Shaughnessy as her partner of 27 years. At number 5, Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston's personal life was often a hot topic in the media during her life. People were obsessed with what went on behind closed doors, the good and the bad. Though a lot of her personal life was exposed, one thing that remained a secret until her tragic passing was a horrible incident that she had endured when she was younger. After some digging and a published documentary, the world learned that Whitney was once a victim of inappropriate contact. After the singer passed away, her former assistant told the documentary team that Whitney had once confided in her to tell her about what she had endured when she was younger. The assistant told cameras, quote, "Whitney looked at me and said, 'Mary, I was harmed at a young age too, but it wasn't by a man, it was a woman. She had tears in her eyes. She says, Mommy doesn't know the things that we went through.'" End quote. Though she never spoke publicly about what happened to her, it is believed that Whitney once hinted at it in an interview when she got really emotional when talking about adults taking advantage of children. At number 4, George Michael. Imagine being portrayed negatively in the media for basically your whole career just for the narrative to make a 180 after your passing. This is the case with singer George Michael and how his public image changed after he passed away. During his career, George was seen as scandalous and the media really dug into this while he was alive, but after he passed away in 2016, the truth about who George Michael really was came out, and it was a very different narrative. He took the secret of his philanthropy to his grave, but many people wish that he was around to be appreciated for giving back to the people. The public came to learn that the singer made many large donations to a wide array of charities like cancer support groups and the Terrence Higgins Trust, which is an HIV awareness group. He kept all of his donations a secret and made sure that no one receiving these donations knew that he was behind it. He was a secret angel giving back to people without receiving any credit, which just shows that this help was genuine, not just for good press. At number 3, Prince. Another celebrity who was something of a secret angel of sorts was Prince. After he passed away in 2016, secrets about the singer started to come out, some of those secrets being about his philanthropy. One person, an environmentalist who worked for the Green Jobs Act, came forward to talk about one of the donations that they had once received anonymously from Prince, where they said that they received a check for $50,000. At first, they sent the check back because it was so out of the blue and they didn't really trust it, but to their surprise, the check came back again, this time with a phone call. The environmentalist then went on to say that the person on the phone said, quote, "I cannot tell you who the money is coming from, but his favorite color is purple." End quote. On top of this anonymous donation, Prince also co-founded an educational effort to help teach minority youths technology called #YesWeCode, and he also made a donation to the family of Trayvon Martin. Speaking out about Prince's philanthropy, his ex-wife said that he never wanted to make these donations public so as to not overshadow the charity or the case. At number 2, Anthony Perkins. Known for his role as Norman Bates in the Hitchcock film Psycho, actor Anthony Perkins lived a pretty quiet and private life, but he also took a very big secret to his grave. When news broke of his passing in 1992, it came as a sudden shock to people. But what the public didn't know at the time was that Anthony had been secretly battling a serious illness that he kept from the public. For 2 years before his passing, the actor had been secretly receiving treatment for AIDS. Speaking out about her husband's treatment, Anthony's wife told sources, quote, "He went twice to stay at a hospital and once as an outpatient, and we went under another name. You think that this man has spent his entire life giving people so much pleasure in show business, and this is his reward. He can't even be himself at the end." End quote. Anthony knew that when the public found out about his condition after his passing, there would be a lot of questions as to why he never publicly revealed his condition, and so before he died, he wrote a statement to be read once he passed on. In the statement, the actor wrote, quote, "I chose not to go public about having AIDS because to misquote Casablanca, "I'm not much at being noble, but it doesn't take much to see that the problems of one old actor doesn't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world." End quote. And finally, at number 1, Billy Tipton. Billy Tipton was a famous jazz musician who kept a huge secret from everyone. This secret was so hush-hush that not even his closest friends or family knew. Billy had a pretty solid career in the beginning. The 40s and 50s were Billy's time to shine, rising to fame and taking American jazz by storm. Billy's career started to decline, however, after he declined an offer for a recording contract and to open for Liberace. After that, the musician started to fade out of the spotlight. Over the course of his life, Billy was married 5 times, adopted 3 kids, and was considered to be a real family man. But one day, when Billy suddenly collapsed, his secret was revealed. While paramedics were trying to save him, it was discovered that Billy wasn't biologically male. Like I mentioned before, no one knew. Literally no one, so this came as a shock to everyone. It turns out that Billy dressed as a man in order to be allowed into the world of jazz. Because of this huge secret, Billy was forced to live a pretty private life in order to avoid being caught. At number 10, Naya Rivera. Former Glee star Naya Rivera passed away last summer in July 2020 at the age of just 33 years old. Naya's death was the result of an accidental drowning after swimming in a dangerous area. On that day, Naya and her son were enjoying a nice day out on the boat when they decided to go swimming. The area in which they were had been reported to have difficult swimming conditions, and so when Naya was trying to save her son and get him back to their boat, she ran out of energy and couldn't keep herself afloat in the water. She mustered up enough energy to get her son back to safety, but she didn't have enough to save herself, and sadly she drowned in the lake. Shortly after the incident took place, reports started to come in of a child seen by himself on a boat, and when authorities arrived on the scene, they began the search for Naya. The rescue mission took days and a lot of equipment, but her body was later found on July 13th. Naya's passing came on the exact day of fellow Glee star Corey Monteith's passing, which took place 7 years earlier. Fans shared an outpouring of support for the Glee star and hailed her a hero for being able to save her son. She was a successful performer and good mom, and she is so dearly missed by her friends, family, and fans. At number 9, Christopher Plummer. Canadian actor Christopher Plummer had a very long and successful career. He provided entertainment in all kinds of different mediums, from film to theater and even voice acting. Christopher first became a largely known celebrity after his role as Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music, and he capped off his Hollywood career by starring in the 2019 film Knives Out, this being his last performance before his passing. Christopher acted in many different genres like dramas, musicals, and even sci-fi. One of his other best-known roles was as Klingon General Chang in Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country. For the gamers out there, you might know Christopher for his voice acting as the leader of the Greybeards in Skyrim. This Academy Award-winning actor brought so much fun and entertainment to so many people over the years, and his presence in pop culture was so steady, it almost seemed like he was ingrained in the culture. Fans were devastated to learn of his passing in February of 2021 after he suffered a fall and injured his head. The actor was 91. Now before I carry on with the video, I would like to take some time to ask you guys to leave a comment down below sharing some love for the families of these celebrities. Going through a loss of a loved one is never easy, so let's send them some love and support. At number 8, Kirk Douglas. In the golden age of Hollywood, Kirk Douglas was one of the industry's biggest, brightest, and most successful stars. With over 92 acting credits, 75 of those credits being feature films, and 7 of which featured his good friend Burt Lancaster as his co-star, Douglas became a superstar in Hollywood even before people truly knew what that meant. Douglas received his very first Academy Award nomination in 1950 for his role in the film Champion. Later in 1991, Kirk was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute, and he became a Kennedy Center honoree just a few years later in 1994. Fast forward to 1996, and Kirk was awarded an honorary Oscar for his 50 years as a creative and for his moral force in the world of filmmaking. He had an incredibly long and successful career as an actor and lived to be 103. Kirk held on even after suffering a stroke in 1996, but soon as he got older, his health started to decrease until his passing in February 2020. Kirk died of old age, but is survived by his long and outstanding career and his mark on Hollywood. At number 7, Larry King. On January 23, 2021, legendary TV broadcaster Larry King passed away at the age of 87. The Emmy Award-winning host passed away at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in LA after it was revealed to the public that he had been battling COVID-19 for 10 days prior. Larry had a long and successful career that spanned over 6 decades, having interviewed famous people and leaders from Martin Luther King Jr. to Vladimir Putin and so many others in between. His show Larry King Live became the longest running show on CNN, spanning from 1985 to 2010, and even after that, Larry kept working, interviewing, and listening to the stories of so many people from all sides and all walks of life. But other than being a host, he was also something of an actor, and he played himself in a couple of productions, but he also voiced the character Doris in Shrek 2. After his passing, a statement was released which celebrated his life and legacy, with part of it saying, quote, "For 63 years and across the platforms of radio, television, and digital media, Larry's many thousands of interviews, awards, and global acclaim stand as a testament to his unique and lasting talent as a broadcaster." End quote. Upon the news of his passing, messages of condolences started pouring in from many of the celebrities, showing how respected he was and how he will be missed. At number 6, Sebastian Athie. Disney is probably one of the most consistent entertainment outlets around the world. No matter what part of the world you're from, you've probably become a Disney fan at some point or another. Latin American Disney Channel actor Sebastian Athie was a star in a completely different part of the world than my own, and yet we still felt the sadness that came with his sudden passing last summer. Known for his role as soccer player Lorenzo Guerva on the Argentinian Disney show Once, Sebastian was a well-loved and talented guy. Other than being a famed actor, he was also into the music scene. He was a singer, releasing music as recently as 2019. He released his most recent song, Freaking Out, in July 2019, a year before his passing, and before that he released a song through Disney Channel called Play with the Heart. But before he got his big break on the Disney Channel, he got his start on a popular telenovela called La Rosa de Guadalupe, having appeared on 2 episodes between 2014 and 2015 as 2 different characters. He lived a good life, finding a lot of success until his tragic passing on July 4th, 2020, after suffering from a heart attack at the age of only 24 years old. He will be dearly missed. At number 5, DMX. On April 9th, 2021, legendary rapper and actor DMX, born Earl Simmons, passed away, leaving fans and the entertainment industry devastated. DMX, known for such hits as Get At Me Dog and X Gon' Give It To Ya, passed away after suffering a major heart attack following a substance overdose this past spring. The rapper was rushed to hospital on April 2nd and stayed in critical care while fans set up a prayer vigil outside of his hospital until his passing about a week later. DMX, who was only 50 at the time of his death, made huge waves in Hollywood and in the music industry. He rose to fame in the late 90s, and his 1999 album, And Then There Was X, went 5 times platinum, and he was even nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Rap Album in 2001. Other than being a legendary rapper, DMX was also an actor, having been in a handful of films like Belly and Cradle to the Grave. Upon his passing, DMX's family released a statement saying that he was a, quote, warrior who fought till the very end, end quote. The statement also said, quote, he loved his family with all his heart, and we cherish the times we spent with him. Earl's music inspired countless fans across the world, and his iconic legacy will live on forever. We appreciate all the love and support during this incredibly difficult time, unquote. At number 4, Alex Trebek. After a long and difficult battle with pancreatic cancer, Jeopardy host Alex Trebek passed away on November 8th, 2020 at the age of 80. Alex worked on the game show Jeopardy for the last 35 years, and it feels as though we grew up with him. Hearing his voice on the TV in the background or watching the show is something I'm sure many of us remember experiencing. Although Alex is best known as the host of Jeopardy, he also made several cameos in different films like Spy Hard, and even appeared as himself in many other productions. He was a ray of positivity until the very end. Alex shared his cancer diagnosis in March 2019, and though he continued his battle, he also continued to be the face of the game show, hosting each round and keeping his loyal fans updated on his health. It felt as though we were all fighting together. Though he was optimistic, he lost his battle last year. The Canadian legend created a worldwide family through television, and he will be missed by all. Thank you, Alex. At number 3, Regis Philbin. The longtime television and game show host Regis Philbin sadly passed away from heart disease at the age of 88 on July 24th, 2020. He was most widely known as a co-host of Live with Regis and Kathy Lee starting in 1988, which became Live with Regis and Kelly in 2001. Regis also made a number of appearances in films throughout his career, appearing as himself in films like Little Nicky and Miss Congeniality 2, as well as voicing the character Mabel in Shrek the Third and Shrek Forever After. Upon his passing, Regis' family shared an exclusive statement with People magazine and said, quote, his family and friends are forever grateful for the time we got to spend with him, for his warmth, for his legendary sense of humor, and his singular ability to make every day into something worth talking about. We thank his fans and admirers for their incredible support over this 60-year career and ask for privacy as we mourn his loss. End quote. At number 2, Ed Asner. Actor Ed Asner was a beloved actor who brought joy and entertainment to the masses. Some may know him from his roles in productions like The Untouchables and The Mary Tyler Moore Show, and others may know him as the man who played Santa in the movie Elf, or grumpy old man Carl from the Pixar movie Up. No matter where you knew him from, you no doubt appreciated his talent. His final few productions were Doom Patrol and Cobra Kai, so he really did bring us entertainment until the end. Ed passed away on August 29, 2021 at the age of 91. And finally, at number 1, Chadwick Boseman. Marvel's Black Panther movie is one of the company's most successful films, and for good reason. I remember when the film was first released, there were so many people going to see it, and so many people from the Black community saying how they felt empowered and represented by this film. It was a big deal and made Black Panther a fan favorite. Chadwick Boseman, the actor who brought King T'Challa to life, also became an icon, so when news broke of his passing last year, fans were absolutely devastated. Chadwick passed away on August 28, 2020 at the age of 43 after a long and difficult battle with stage 4 colon cancer. Other than being cast in the MCU, Chadwick also played some other big roles such as Jackie Robinson in 42, as well as James Brown in Get On Up. His final performance was in the second episode of Marvel's What If series that was released this year, where he reprised his role of King T'Challa one last time. His family released a statement announcing his passing, saying how hard he fought until the end. Fans found out that Chadwick was receiving treatment for his condition at the same time that he was filming Black Panther, showing us how strong he really was. Chadwick really was a king on and off screen, and it's hard to imagine the MCU without him. At number 10, Jay Pickett. Soap opera actor Jay Pickett, known for his time on General Hospital, passed away on July 30th of this year at the age of 60. Jay was a soap opera legend, having been part of the cast of a number of shows like Days of Our Lives, where he played Dr. Chip Latkin, Port Charles, and obviously General Hospital, where he portrayed the character Detective David Harper. The most recent project Jay was working on was a film called Treasure Valley, but sadly the actor passed away during the project's filming. Jay's passing came suddenly and tragically, as a producer for Jay's upcoming film released a statement following the actor's death that said, quote, "Many of you already heard about the tragedy that happened 2 days ago. Jay Pickett, our leading man, writer, producer, and creator of this movie, passed away suddenly while we were on location preparing to film a scene," end quote. There was no official cause of death released at the time, but it is believed that the actor passed away due to a sudden heart attack. In the producer's statement, they elaborated on how hard they tried to keep Jay with us, saying, quote, "Everyone present tried as hard as they could to keep him alive. Our hearts are broken and we grieve for his family who are so devastated by the shocking tragedy." Jay's passing has been felt heavily by fans of his work, so he surely will not be forgotten. At number 9, Robert Downey Sr. Robert Downey Sr., father of Marvel actor Robert Downey Jr., passed away peacefully in his sleep on July 7, 2021 after a long battle with Parkinson's disease. Robert Downey Sr. was known as a pioneer of the underground film scene in New York City in the 1960s. He got his first big break with the film Putney Swope, and this put him on the map, set him up for success, and from then on he became a legend in the film industry, both as an actor and director. His success later continued into the 70s and 80s as he worked on projects like The Twilight Zone, Matlock, To Live and Die in LA, Boogie Nights, and Magnolia. But other than growing his own success, he also aided in the growth and success of others, most notably his son, who began acting alongside him in the early days of his own career. Robert Downey Jr. released a statement following his father's passing, informing the world of the tragedy the Downey family was facing on his Instagram, where he said, quote, "Last night Dad passed away peacefully in his sleep after years of enduring the ravages of Parkinson's. He was a true maverick, filmmaker, and remained remarkably optimistic throughout. According to my stepmom's calculations, they were happily married for just over 2,000 years. Rosemary Rogers Downey, you are a saint and our thoughts and prayers are with you," end quote. Now before I carry on with the list, I would like to ask you guys to leave a comment down below sending a positive message for the families on this list. Losing a loved one is never easy, so let's send them some positive energy their way. At number 8, Sonny Chiba. Actor and martial artist Sonny Chiba recently passed away on August 19th of this year at the age of 82. Sonny was known as one of the first Japanese actors to gain international notoriety for his martial arts skills. Before he became famous in American cinema, Sonny first got his big break in Japan in the 1960s, portraying samurai, police detectives, and quote, anti-heroes trying to survive in a violent world, all while doing his own stunts. It wasn't until the film Street Fighter hit American cinemas that Sonny's career in the US started to take off. He attracted the attention of director Quentin Tarantino, and the actor was later cast in the film Kill Bill. From then, Sonny went on to star in films like Aces and even made an appearance in the film Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Sonny brought popularity to martial arts style films, and he will certainly be remembered for that, along with all of his talent and skill. At number 7, Kevin Clark. If you were a fan of the 2003 movie School of Rock, then you are probably among those who are devastated to hear about the sudden passing of one of the film's stars, Kevin Clark. Kevin, who played the character Freddie Jones, aka Spazzy McGee, passed away on May 26th of this year at the age of only 32 years old after being involved in a tragic accident. According to news reports, Kevin had been riding his bike in a Chicago neighborhood in the early hours of the morning when he was struck by a vehicle. The actor was later rushed to hospital but sadly didn't make it. Kevin's death hit his family very hard because it was so sudden and so unexpected, and because he reportedly finally got into a good place in his life. When making a statement about Kevin's passing, the actor's mother told sources, quote, "He told his bandmates just yesterday, you know, this is finally the life I want to live, and we're going to make it. You're my musical family, my family, and we're all going to make it," end quote. Kevin had just started a new band and they performed for the first time on the weekend before he passed. Before this band, he was known for forming other musical groups and writing songs and teaching kids about music. His love for music and his drumming skills are actually what led him to getting the role in School of Rock, even though he had no prior acting experience. Kevin was an incredibly talented man who has certainly gone too soon. At number 6, Sean Connery. Sir Sean Connery was best known for his incredible talent, especially for playing the unforgettable and iconic James Bond. He was the first actor to bring the iconic character to life and starred in a total of 7 Bond films. His successful career spanned over 70 years, and he even earned an Academy Award in 1988 for his role in The Untouchables. Sadly, the actor passed away on October 31st, 2020 in his sleep while in his home in the Bahamas. The Scottish actor was surrounded by his family at the time of his passing. His talent and refinement as an actor defined an era and a style in the film industry, and the unforgettable charm and charisma that he portrayed on screen is something that defined his career in Hollywood. Sean was an inspiration to so many performers, forging a path for so many other talented people to make their way to Hollywood to try and achieve the same infamy as Connery. At number 5, Cicely Tyson. After having a career that spanned over 70 years, renowned actress and black icon Cicely Tyson passed away on January 28, 2021 at the age of 96. Cicely was best known for her portrayal of strong black women in TV and film. The actress became a beloved Hollywood icon through her work as an actress, model, and author, and at the beginning of 2021, Cicely published a memoir titled Just As I Am, where she shared the story of her life, how she became who she was, and how she was a pioneering force in shaping history. Cicely first started her public career as a model, later transitioning into the performing arts, making her way to Broadway, where she acted alongside other talented people like James Earl Jones and Louis Gossett. In the 1960s, Cicely launched herself into a hugely successful TV and movie career, where she made a point of prioritizing roles that, quote, showed the full lived experiences of black Americans. Tyson later continued her career into the 70s, where she starred in the hugely successful series Roots, and later starred in more modern shows like How to Get Away with Murder. Other than her film and TV awards and nominations, Cicely also became a Kennedy Center honoree and was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Barack Obama in 2016. Cicely leaves behind an incredible legacy, making her a good role model for a lot of young black kids everywhere. At number 4, Nick Cordero. Nick Cordero was a talented actor who found a lot of success in all sorts of creative avenues. Nick made waves in TV and movies as he played characters in productions like Blue Bloods, Law & Order, and Momtown, and on Broadway where he appeared in shows like Rock of Ages and Waitress. Sadly, Nick passed away in 2020 at the age of only 41 after a long and difficult battle with COVID. Nick's wife Amanda Kloots shared his grueling COVID journey with their followers and kept them updated on his health until the end. There were a lot of complications and sadly he lost his battle, but Amanda now uses her husband's tragic story to advocate for COVID safety and to warn others about the consequences that this pandemic can bring. Nick leaves behind his wife Amanda and their young son Elvis. The actor was taken far too soon as he had so much more creative potential and he will be terribly missed. At number 3, Samuel E. Wright. If you're a fan of Disney animation, then you no doubt know the voice of Samuel E. Wright, best known for playing Sebastian the Crab in the Disney animated film The Little Mermaid. Though this role is what brought him the most fame, Samuel wasn't just known for his Disney role, as some may know him from playing Dizzy Gillespie in Clint Eastwood's Bird, as well as his role in a series of Fruit of the Loom commercials. Samuel began his career on Broadway, making his debut in Jesus Christ Superstar in 1971, and later going on to play Mufasa in The Lion King on Broadway in 1997. As I mentioned, his best known role is for playing Sebastian in The Little Mermaid, and this role is what he's most remembered for. He performed the songs Under the Sea, which won an Oscar for Best Original Song, and Kiss the Girl in the film. Samuel would later go on to talk about his dream to be very successful in Hollywood, where he said, quote, "Maybe not every actor would say this, but if I didn't want to be immortal, I wouldn't be acting. I do want to make my little mark on the world. An actor's worst nightmare is to hear 10 years from now, Sam Wright, who was Sam Wright? If you have that kind of attitude, you tend to take each role and make it the best role you've ever done." End quote. Samuel passed away on May 24, 2021 at the age of 74 after a 3-year battle with prostate cancer. At number 2, Helen McCrory. Harry Potter fans were devastated to hear about the passing of actress Helen McCrory, who fans recognize as the talented woman who played Narcissa Malfoy in the Harry Potter franchise. Helen sadly passed away on April 16, 2021 at the age of 52 after a difficult battle with cancer. Her acting career first began when she started performing at London's West End before jumping into the film and television industry, where she would go on to star in productions like Harry Potter, of course, as well as Peaky Blinders, The Queen, Interview with the Vampire, and Casanova. Upon her passing, Helen's husband released an emotional statement which read, quote, "I'm heartbroken to announce that after a heroic battle with cancer, the beautiful and mighty woman that is Helen McCrory has died peacefully at home, surrounded by a wave of love from friends and family. She died as she lived, fearlessly. God, we love her and know how lucky we are to have had her in our lives. She blazed so brightly. Go on now, little one, into the air, and thank you." Helen leaves behind her husband Damian Lewis as well as their 2 children. And finally, at number 1, Dustin Diamond. Fans of the hit 90s show Saved by the Bell were devastated to hear of the passing of actor Dustin Diamond earlier this year. Dustin, who played Samuel Powers aka Screech on the show, captivated audiences during its run between 1989 and 1992. Dustin, who was only 44 at the time of his passing, lost his battle with stage 4 lung cancer on February 1st, 2021. Fans learned of Dustin's cancer diagnosis just 3 weeks before the actor passed away. After his passing, Dustin's representative issued a statement to fans as well as to the press where they said, quote, "He was diagnosed with this brutal, relentless form of malignant cancer only 3 weeks ago. In that time, it managed to spread rapidly through his system. The only mercy it exhibited was its sharp and swift execution. Dustin did not suffer. He did not have to lie submerged in pain. For that, we are grateful." End quote. The source also said that Dustin passed with his girlfriend by his side and was surrounded by love, which is really all you can ask for at a moment like this.